Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. For today's video, we continue the series by Hoops Reference, ranking every starting small forward from all 30 NBA teams. Link to his channel in the description below. See, I got small forward. In my opinion, one of the best. I don't know, man. Think about small forward position these days. It's just that, like, a lot of like the old traditional small forwards, like LeBron and Giannis, they play different positions now. So, it's kind of diluted the product, you might say, bro. If you take a science class or something like that. Let's get into this.
Okay. Let's begin. Starting at the bottom and working our way.
Bro, Isaac Bonga starts for what team?
Isaac Bonga of the Washington Wizards. The talent level of the Wizards, besides
Bradley
Beal, is, to say the least, kind of poor, and nothing exemplifies that more so than Bonga being
what about
starting lineup.
Troy Dan Jr.?
He's putting up about 5 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist per game, and doesn't even really get that many minutes, despite technically being a starter.
Damn, man.
Next up at number 29, we have Terrance Ferguson of the Oklahoma
Thought this man would be a superstar.
Ferguson's still young and continues to have moments every now and then where he looks like a promising and productive rotation player, but in his 3rd season now is still wildly inconsistent. He's an inefficient scorer.
This is his chance to shine,
score
too.
Numbers are lackluster.
Little pressure.
And while he is a good defender, he's not nearly impactful enough to move him up higher on this list.
Thought he would be a walking bucket,
Next
though.
up at number 28, we have Cam Reddish of the Atlanta Hawks. Reddish's college season was a bit of a bust, but he was still a lottery pick because of his tantalizing physical attributes.
Yeah, he's one of those 2 years away from being 2 years away.
Potential for the future.
Best way to put him.
But so far in the pros, we've seen much of the same that we saw when he was at Duke. Lately, he has started to string together a few strong games, so while he, like most rookies, aren't necessarily playing well right away,
I honestly think he should start shooting lefty.
Turn out to be
I just feel like he should be a lefty, man. I don't know. Like Cam Reddish is the lefty,
At number 27, we have Trevor Ariza of the Portland Trailblazers. Ariza over the last few seasons has really started to fall off production-wise.
Yeah.
And when the Kings gave him a big contract this
Big-ass contract, bitch-ass contract for sure.
When the season started.
Like, what's up with that,
They did
Kings?
eventually trade
Who
him
makes
to
the
Blazers,
choices?
and in his first few games there has actually played pretty well. But on the season as a whole, he's been one of the worst starters at the position. Next up at number
Danuel House,
26, we have Danuel House.
Thought he was going to break out big time
Rockets.
this season. Guess
House
not.
bounced around the league for a while early in his career until he found Houston as a home last
I didn't know
season.
that. I thought he
And
was
now that he's a regular
like a
member
10-day
of the
contract
lineup,
guy.
He does a decent enough job spacing the floor for Harden and Westbrook and knows his role without doing too much. Next up at number 25, we have Cedi Osman of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Y'all try to Alex Caruso this man. Did not work.
It
did not work.
On the wing, who has shown an innate ability to create buckets and shoot from deep with his smooth shooting stroke, putting up about 11 points per game on 45%
Tried making him
from
like,
the
I don't know, bro.
and 39% from
like
deep.
Brian Scalabrine or something.
Unfortunately, his defense is another story.
You gotta be the
and
Lakers or
as a whole,
Celtics to
is
do
a
that,
decent
unfortunately.
At best, starting small forward. Up next at number 24, we have Miles Bridges of the Charlotte Hornets. Bridges.
I'm just gonna say real quick here. Miles Bridges ranked really low like this, deserving, but the Charlotte Hornets had like 3 or 4 players in the Rising Star game, so that's just something to think about. Like, that team might be pretty damn close to doing something. I don't know what, but doing something.
He's a naturally gifted athlete that can
explode
at the rim and finish with power, but he doesn't really possess the skills needed.
Yeah, he's a lefty that looks like he should be a righty.
Switch
jump shots with Cam and you guys are both golden.
He's an average shooter.
He should be a righty.
Doesn't really impact those around him. Plus, he tends to struggle on defense,
you can just
which
tell.
makes him a promising yet frustrating young player. Next up at number 23, we have Glenn Robinson III.
Tony Snell signing yet, or citing yet.
Robinson is another journeyman who hadn't really found a consistent role in the league prior to this season, but on the tanking Golden State Warriors, he's having the best year of his career.
Biggest issue, he doesn't have a position. He played power forward in Michigan, then he played some small forward, then he's at like shooting guard. He's probably going to try, probably play for the day of Memphis Grizzlies at center or something pretty soon.
He's scoring about 13 points while shooting 48% from the field and 40% from 3, all of which are terrific numbers. And next year, when the team is healthy again, he could prove to be a good bench piece. Next up at number 22, we have Avery Bradley of the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers' success that has gotten them to the top of the Western Conference
they're like a positionless
has been centered
team
around their defense, and
He's
that's
listed
exactly
there, right, guys?
Bradley's specialty. He pesters opposing teams' ball handlers and doesn't make anything easy for them. And on offense, he lets the playmakers
Celtics,
around him
Avery.
do their thing. Up next,
Yo,
at
Tony
number
at 21.
we
My boy
have
George
Tony
Blaha,
Snell
too.
of the Detroit
Guys, I almost
Pistons.
met George Blaha.
Snell's a 3-and-D.
When I used to work my 9 to 5 job, I did like purchasing and I was working with the salesman. He had a phone call and he said, "Oh, it's my buddy George Blaha." I almost freaking flipped out. Oh my God. Yo, because the dude was going golfing with him or something. It was so cool. It was so cool.
D guy to a T.
Love
as
George
he
Blaha.
excels as a spot-up shooter and uses his length to play solid
He getting old
defense
as
on the
hell.
other end. Nothing about his game is flashy or necessarily fun.
Count
but
that baby
he's
in
a
a
solid
foul.
player to have in
Oh,
your
and Tony
rotation,
Snell, hi.
and shoots
Welcome to the video.
42% from deep, which is very valuable in today's NBA.
He'll be
Next
bought
up
out
at
soon
number
too,
20,
probably.
we have Jae Crowder of the Memphis Grizzlies. Crowder's presence on this young Grizzlies team
Obviously on
has
the Heat now,
definitely
right,
helped
guys?
them exceed all
A video was made
expectations,
before the trade
despite
deadline.
his production not looking necessarily great on paper.
But it's still,
he
the
brings
rankings
a
hold up, you know?
toughness and attitude as a veteran that the young guys feed off of, and he can make big plays when they need him to with all of his experience. Up next at number 19, we have Otto Porter Jr. of the Chicago
He's gonna be a
Bulls.
nice player once he gets a more valuable
Unfortunately,
contract.
Porter's been injured for most of the season, so we don't have the biggest sample
Like a good
size
value
to go
player, I
off
should
of
say.
for him. But since his arrival in Chicago, he's been a very good wing for a young team on the rise. He has the talent to be any team's ideal third option, as he brings balance.
I love his name,
scoring
too. He's
and
got a
good
great name.
perimeter defense,
Otto.
which makes him a very valuable
Like,
player when healthy.
Oh, yo, he should play
Up
for
next at
Houston,
number
man.
18,
Rocket power.
We have Harrison
Otto
Barnes
Rocket.
of the
That would be, oh
Sacramento
my
Kings.
God.
When the
Make it
Kings gave him
happen.
a big contract this summer,
Otto
the
Rocket,
team
bro.
had very high hopes for the future.
Damn.
But so far, none of that has come into fruition. And part of that is because Barnes
They get Reggie
has
Jackson,
been
they
having
have,
a pretty down year for his standards. His defense
Reggie
is
Rocket.
poor, his scoring
Was that
is
their last
much
name?
more inconsistent and inefficient.
Gotta watch
and
Rocket
he's never
Power.
really provided much else.
That was the sister.
Next up at number 17, we have OG Anunoby of the Toronto Raptors. Anunoby doesn't fill the stat sheet,
What is
but
he
he's
drinking?
easily having the best
Does
year
they
of his
flow
young
or
career.
how?
He plays terrific
Is that
defense out
flour?
on the wing, provides a reliable perimeter threat to open
I never
things up
drank
for
flour.
Siakam and
Maybe that's why I'm not
Lowry,
in the NBA.
and has even shown good improvement creating off the dribble. Up next at number 16, we have Joe Harris of the Brooklyn Nets. Harris established himself as
Choked in
one
the
of the
three-point
best
contest this
shooters
year.
in the entire league last year, and while he hasn't continued the blistering hot pace he set last season now, he is still one of the most reliable three-point shooters around, as he gives the Nets 14
He was quite the
points per
come-up
game,
story.
while still knocking down over 40% of his threes. Up next,
Yo,
at number
Duncan!
15, we have Duncan Robinson of the Miami Heat. Robinson is one of the biggest underdog feel-good stories of the season, because
Duncan
before
don't
the
be
year
Duncan,
started,
though.
Nobody
That's the thing,
in the
damn
world
sure.
could have predicted
Duncan
him
don't be
becoming the kind
Duncan.
of
Oh, here he
contributor
goes.
he has. He's capable of taking and making three-point shots.
I ain't never seen Duncan Robinson dunk in my life. I make one joke about it, and there he go, was freaking leaping off.
From anywhere and any range, and his off-ball movement to create open looks and get to
Pull
his
up.
spots is next level. He shoots about 8 threes per game at 44%, which puts him in company with very few others. Next up at number 14,
Dorian Finney at
we have
14?
Dorian Finney-Smith
Yo.
of the Dallas Mavericks. Finney-Smith is the glue that holds the Mavericks lineup together.
Okay,
and
I think
does
I'm underrating
a
it
ton of
then.
little things to help elevate those around him, while Luka Doncic
I must be underrating this, man. I gotta check out his stats or something, because Dorian Finney-Smith, I just hear that name, I just think of like a bronze card in 2K.
handles most
But,
of the shot
you know,
creation. He's a solid two-way player that shoots well, finishes strong at the rim, and plays very good defense. Up next at number 13, we have Kelly Oubre of the Phoenix Suns. Oubre started to turn things up last
Yo, look
year
at that
when he
step
got
back.
traded
He's
to
James
Phoenix,
Harden.
and since
Even
he's
got the
been
lefty.
started into the starting lineup, he's taken his game to yet another level. He's quick, he's explosive off the dribble when he attacks the basket, and he can create his own shot
Bro,
to
imagine
take
being
some
the
pressure
NBA.
off of Devin Booker. Next
Just go
up
out there
at
and play
number
some
12,
basketball,
we
you know?
have Aaron Gordon of the Orlando Magic. Gordon's always been someone people have seen as someone capable of making the leap.
He got
to
Isaac
stardom,
in the Power
but
Forward
has
video, I
just
believe.
never really gotten there. He uses his size and elite athleticism to power through defenders at the rim,
Not elite enough to get that 10 from D-Wade, though.
but the rest of
Not
his
elite
game
enough to get that 10 from
features
D-Wade.
him being good at a bunch of
And
things,
Scottie
but
Pippen,
not
it wasn't just
necessarily
Wade.
great at any one thing. Next up at number 11, we have Will Barton of the Denver Nuggets. Barton actually got benched in the playoffs last season, so I think that must have motivated him to come back better than ever.
Learn how to
this
shot the
season,
three, too.
Because he earned his spot.
He was just a
back.
midi
He's
master.
playing as good as he ever has in his career, and has arguably been the number 2 option for the team alongside Nikola Jokic, with Jamal Murray and Gary Harris struggling at times. Now, to start off the top 10, we have Andrew Wiggins of the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Now Golden State Warriors.
Wiggins
yes.
often gets a lot of slack from the fans, and for good reason. But this year,
he was compared to Tracy McGrady outside the draft,
output, averaging 23 a game. The frustration with him comes in the fact that he struggles mightily in so many other areas, with defense being among them. But all in all, he has shown growth this year. Up next at number 9, we have Marcus Morris of the New York Knicks. Morris is probably best suited naturally as a power forward,
which is what he will be, or does play now.
Does play. Power forwards, it forced some of them to play out of position, which happened to Morris.
Yeah, they had Bobby Portis at point guard one game.
His career though as a go-to
I
guy
can't confirm
on the
that.
team,
I'm just joking.
And his three-point shot is falling at a phenomenal
Yo, who is that big boy? Yo, give me him up, man.
He's one of the best stretch bigs in the league that contenders may look to trade for at the deadline, but otherwise,
brother, you got some passing skills too. Give me the Knicks point guard.
Next up at number 8, we have TJ Warren of the Indiana Pacers. Warren's production always flew so under the radar when he was on the Suns prior to this year.
Got traded for a copy machine.
So when the Pacers added him this summer, he's been a big help to keep the team afloat while Victor Oladipo rehabbed. He shoots over 50% from the field,
literally got him for free,
18 points per game, can score inside and out, and creates a lot of mismatches for defenders with his playstyle. Next up at number 7, we have Tobias Harris of the Philadelphia 76ers. Harris is a fringe all-star in the East, but once again missed the cut this year. He puts up
always good, just not the best.
Solid post-game,
nothing wrong with that.
In the mid-range, but since his arrival in Philadelphia, his three-point shot has been uncharacteristically inconsistent. Had he been a more reliable outside shooter, he may have gotten that all-star nod, but overall, he's still a solid player out on the wing.
Miss him in Detroit a lot.
Up next at number 6, we have Bojan Bogdanovic of the Utah Jazz. This summer, the Jazz realized they needed all.
See, I thought it was Royce O'Neal that started, but I could be wrong, guys. I could be wrong.
Has been a bit of a bust of an addition. Bogdanovic has lived up to all of their expectations and provided the team with one of the most consistent perimeter scorers in the league. He scores 21 points per game, shoots 45% from the field, and 43% from 3.
Yeah, he's underrated for sure.
A reliable second option.
Good rating for him. Good rating.
Next up,
way to
at
recognize.
Number 5, we have DeMar DeRozan of the San Antonio Spurs. The biggest thing people have harped on DeRozan throughout his career is his lack of a reliable three-pointer.
And I know Hoops reference, being a Philadelphia fan, he probably gets sick of hearing about Ben Simmons all the time. So, he probably got a little empathy towards DeMar DeRozan.
So this year in particular, he's actually avoided shooting threes altogether. And as a result of focusing on his very advanced post game and his mid-range game, he's actually having the most efficient season of his career. Because when he focuses on his strengths, he's one of the toughest guys to cover in the league.
More so than his Toronto days?
At number 4, we have Jayson Tatum of the Boston Celtics. This year's Celtics team looks like much more of a complete unit as opposed to a bunch of individuals like last season, and as a result, Tatum has had more opportunity to shine and has taken full advantage of it. He's averaging a career high in points, has shown that he's capable of being the big
and he's only 19 years old.
Maker that many
forever will be only 19 years old,
and even got his first All-Star game this year as well. Next up at number 3, we have Brandon Ingram of the New Orleans
He's most improved player.
Ingram is one of the favorites for the most improved player this year.
Him or Bam.
His production has skyrocketed. He's putting up 25 points, 6 rebounds.
Bro, look at that drill.
Assists,
I would drop every one of them.
His efficiency isn't even an issue like it had been in previous seasons. He's figuring out how to use his
What is the point of that drill? It's so interesting.
And as a result, he's been a tough cover for even the best defenders in the NBA.
I'd use a little box to dunk.
At number 2, we have
Middleton
Khris Middleton
too. Yo,
of the
there we go.
Bucks. Giannis may get all the coverage and praise up in Milwaukee, but another major reason why they've been so dominant this year again is because Middleton continues to improve and produce like one of the best wing players in the league. He scores 21 points per game, but his efficiency is absurdly good as he shoots 51% from the field and 44% from 3.
Yo, who's number 1?
And once again got a deserving nomination to the All-Star game. And now, coming in at number 1 on this list, to no one's surprise, is Kawhi Leonard of the Los Angeles Clippers.
Should have stopped watching basketball.
Following up his Finals MVP season with another very strong year, and even though he has continued to load manage throughout the regular season, he still brings it when he's on the court and produces at an elite level. The Clippers aren't very far back of the number 1 seed, and when the whole team gets healthy, they very may well could push for that top spot. And with that being said, that's
all right. That's the end of the video, guys. I'll say overall it's a pretty good ranking. Only one I have that I'll probably go right at the streets about is I'll probably take Tony Snell over Dorian Finney-Smith. That's right up there with the LeBron MJ debate. So, but there just really isn't a true answer. Anyway, guys, very good ranking for Hoops Reference. Always a good ranking. Link to his channel description below. Peace out, guys.